emerging issues for directors at the moment really are about emerging issues for the country, I think, and economy broadly. So what do we need as companies and as guardians and governors of companies to prepare ourselves for what's going to be a fairly turmoil-ridden number of years in terms of an economy for Australia and for the world that's changing incredibly rapidly. And we need to be across the issues and prepared to be fleet of foot and to be well enough educated about the issues so that we can actually help our companies to grow and be sustainable. And I think a lot of those issues are ones that are new issues. How does the climate change affect our company, and how does our response to that affect our company, and how does it affect our ability to employ people? How do our environment, social and governance principles that we embody in this company attract a new generation of millennials who are a very different workforce that we need to attract because they actually believe in your company. They don't just look for a job anymore. So there's really quite a range of changes that are coming about for companies, from climate, from the economy, from the new employees that are coming on board, that we really need to understand and be able to deal with.
The key issues on not-for-profit boards really are around the reality of what being on a board is, for a start. Many not-for-profit boards are still acting like management committees, and I think we're forcing them today into becoming real boards. And that means that they really have to look at things like governance. They really have to look at things like the responsibility of being a board member and how strategically they force an organisation or push an organisation forward.
From my perspective, these days as a board member, I think a number of the roles are evolving. So there are the clear ones that do with governance and diligence, and it gets more and more difficult, and it's very incumbent upon a director to stay on top of all the changes from a kind of corporate governance and legislation point of view. But aside from that, I think in a world that is more and more global, it's getting harder and harder to return high levels of earnings for shareholders. So I think, getting top line growth is particularly difficult. I read an article this morning in the Fin Review that said if you're only a domestic organisation, it could be difficult for you to get top line growth. So more and more people need to be looking globally. There's a lot of pressure politically and environmentally these days, and again, I think board directors have to be aware of that. And I think the other role that boards need to be aware of these days is obviously the growth in digital technology. And more boards are aware that that's something that is a challenge for them, and they are seeking people who have some skills in that area. That's a passion of mine. But I think being au fait and comfortable at a bare minimum with sort of online technologies these days is an absolute must for most board members.
I think the emerging issues for directors are threefold: digital, global and transformation. So what do I mean by that? I think every business needs to be part of the digital economy. It's now a requirement, not an option. Many businesses and many directors need to grow up. Global, what does that mean? It means it's a global marketplace we're in. Whatever business, whatever operation, we're going to have to find ways to both strategically and effectively operate in that environment. And the third thing is transformation. You can say you go through a transformation. We are going to have to reinvent ourselves on a very regular basis. Nothing stays the same. It's being able to embed transformation and then look for the next challenge and then move on.